Hi, this is Jason. Welcome to episode 4 of the Filmography Club podcast. Today we continue our trek through the filmography of one Paul Thomas Anderson, writer-director of 8 critically acclaimed films thus far. And today we're talking about one of PTA's quirkier films, Punch Drunk Love. This is PTA's shortest film so far, clocking in at a brisk 95 minutes. Wikipedia describes Punch Drunk Love as a romantic black comedy, and that's as fair an assessment as any I could muster. Starring one of my least favorite actors, that's Adam Sandler, this film manages to win me over anyhow, thus is my appreciation for this season's subject's work. My guest today is Caleb Dirks. Caleb is a freelance videographer. A few of the films he's worked on include A Common Era, Mea Culpa, and Midnight Munchies. He's also shot music videos for Janelle The Gentleman, Elle Duke, and Pet Envy. Shout out to Jake, Matt, Jordan, and Shelby. He's worked as a producer, screenwriter, and director of photography, giving him a well-rounded perspective on many of the disciplines of filmmaking. We met literally 15 minutes before we started our conversation, and he was a blast to talk movies with. As you'll hear in a moment, he's bright, funny, knowledgeable, and very enthusiastic about film. We had a great conversation about Paul Thomas Anderson's 4th film, the charming and endearing Punch Drunk Love. So, here we go. Welcome, Caleb.
Thank you.
Caleb Dirks. How are you, man?
Doing well, Jason. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. So we're here today to talk about Punch Drunk Love, Paul Thomas Anderson's 4th film, his shortest film. Took him a good 3-year break between Magnolia, his longest film. He went from his longest to his shortest. 1999, I believe, for Magnolia. 2002 for Punch Drunk Love. Super short little 95-minute movie. He went from his longest to his shortest. Stars Adam Sandler.
Craziness. Adam
Completely
Sandler,
crazy. Yeah,
right?
yeah. Little character study after the big sprawling epics that were, I mean, we got 2 of those in a row, really, with Boogie Nights, and then Magnolia was even bigger and even more epic. And then he just decided, hey, we need a palate cleanser here. Let's rein all of my artistic writing tendencies in.
Yeah. Let's have maybe like 5 characters in the movie rather than 200. I don't know.
Yeah, I looked it up earlier, and there's like 6 named characters in the whole movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is great. That's fine with me. Like I said, I needed a little palate cleanser after Magnolia. Magnolia was heavy drama.
Absolutely.
Big movie, big themes, and this movie deals with it's got weight to it, without a doubt.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's a brisk watch. I watched it maybe 5-6 days ago, and man, the thing just zipped right on by, didn't it?
It hums. It definitely does. And I went to look back, scrub back through, and it was just like, oh, wow, okay, there's not much to look back at. We got 10 scenes, essentially. Like, yeah, it's so fast. Yeah, I think, like, on Magnolia, like, Tom Cruise was kind of like the, what? Who's he casting here? Really? But it makes me, like, love Tom Cruise at a level that I didn't know was possible.
Same here.
And hate. I mean, that's the duality, of course. Hate Tom Cruise. But he's so amazing. But what? P.T. Anderson has this like crush on Adam Sandler or something? Where like, what is that?
Very bizarre to me. I'm not sure where this comes from, but he defends him staunchly in interviews from around this era. Yeah, he defends those movies, those Little Nickies and stuff. I mean, yeah, and I mean, I'm not here to shit on Adam Sandler. I'm not going to spend this entire episode just trash talking the guy, but I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler fan in the world. I'll just say that. But it takes one of my favorite filmmakers writing a part specifically for the guy, and that's a testament to him as a writer. because
I agree.
he took a guy like Tom Cruise, who really I just don't have much interest in. I mean, there's a few exceptions here and there because the guy's got such a
prolific. Yeah,
there's so much out there. But on the whole, I'm not a big Tom Cruise guy. But that movie, Magnolia, really made me respect him as an actor.
Agreed.
And I have to say, he kind of did the same thing with Adam Sandler here. He didn't really have to stretch his legs too much and go out too far outside of his wheelhouse.
Okay, like the way he says "okay," or
yeah,
like it's so good. I love it.
It is, but he's really good at writing parts for specific actors and making me buy it, making me believe it, making me love it.
Yeah. We just mentioned also Boogie Nights, and I think, like, I was thinking about this earlier today, and I think Barry Egan. Mm-hmm. He's kind of the antithesis of Dirk Diggler. Is that the right word? The exact opposite. He's the opposite. I think so. Like, Dirk Diggler is like growing up, like, I got this cock and I got to use it. You know, he's like all about, yeah. And I don't know, how did Barry get this job? What is this job? How did he get, like, I just don't know how Barry wound up anywhere in life.
I really don't either.
Because he's so, like, meek and quiet and just, like, I don't know, but I love this luxury plunger shop that he has 5 employees to work at, too.
He does. Like, and Wikipedia, if we can trust Wikipedia, describes him as an entrepreneur. That's all they say about what he does. But he works in a warehouse, and he fills orders for, like, plungers for hotels, and I'm sure other stuff too. But
I guess he's got some real good contracts going with, like, novelty plungers at hotels. Like,
the ones that don't shatter.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So I guess we should say that Paul Thomas Anderson swears up and down that this movie was his serious attempt at making just a flat out comedy.
Yeah.
Like I said to Dicey last episode, I do not believe him. I think Paul Thomas Anderson is bullshitting us when he says that, but there are genuinely hilarious moments in this movie.
Agreed.
But you have to wait for them, and you kind of have to look for them. They don't demand your attention like, say, a lesser Adam Sandler vehicle might.
Correct. Yeah. No, you're not. There's not the devil with boobs on his head,
right?
Or
that's how you know it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And I do. There are fun. I do love moments of those movies, and Adam Sandler's performances are unbelievable. How can you act that goofy for like an hour and a half and like be willing, or I don't know, like it's its own thing.
Yeah. Well, in this one, he's a sullen, he's a sad bastard in this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's where I was.
He's depressed. He's got depression.
It's depression. Yeah. I do agree. I think it's a man emerging from depression and finding his way out of that.
Yeah.
And so this is a comedy, but it starts out feeling like more like a David Lynch film. Like it's like terrifying. There's some existential dread when he's like looking around the corner and like looking out, and it's just like, oh God, here comes these cars. What's going to happen?
It's just him peeking out into the world out of his own little corner that he's made for himself, and he's very timid about it. He's mouse-like almost. I don't know if you heard my first episode.
I have
my
not.
guest, Will Fox. We talked about Heart 8, obviously.
Nice.
He's got a theory that in Paul Thomas Anderson movies, 18-wheelers represent dramatic change that's out of your control, that just barges into your life. And there's the moment in Hard 8 at the very beginning when, I don't know if you've seen it or not, very few people have seen it.
I actually haven't seen Hard 8. I have to.
It's great, but at the
I was
very
going to lie
beginning,
like Barry and then try to like make it all the way through.
Sure.
But at the end, I tell you the truth that I didn't. But
well, right at the very beginning of the movie, we get a shot of John C. Reilly's character off in the background, looking very sad and just upset and destitute, and then the camera starts pushing in, and Sydney walks into frame, and the meeting of these two guys is what starts the whole movie, story-wise and just chronologically. And just as he's about to approach him, an 18-wheeler comes through the frame, and it takes up the entire frame.
Yeah.
And that moment changes everything. And then in this movie, when he grabs the harmonium, he looks down the street both ways, and there's just like nothing coming.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, this big, loud 18-wheeler. Yeah. And that kind of starts his journey right there. And then, of course, later on when they leave that very same, in fact, I went back and checked, that very same 18-wheeler shows up after they get kicked out of the
restaurant.
The restaurant?
Yeah, the one on the corner there.
Yeah, when he beats up the restroom. Yeah. When he leaves, that truck comes around a corner and rides right alongside him.
Yeah.
Which, that was a big moment for their relationship as well. I think Will might be onto something with that.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely picked up on the 18-wheelers. Also, when he leaves... Oh, when he leaves his work later, when he's like, "Oh, we'll figure out the pudding later." Now we open up the pudding. Oh boy, so we got so much to talk about. But he's like, "Well, we'll figure out the pudding later." And as he walks out the door, a red semi goes by, and red is definitely the color of
Is
Emily?
it Lena?
Yeah,
or Lena? Lena,
I think.
I just watched this movie and I can't remember her name.
Whoops, same.
Yeah. Emily Watson.
Oh, she's incredible. But yeah, red represents her color. So it's a red semi going by. That's his transition. He has changed. He has made this decision to follow her. And
blue is his color. And blue is all on the side of the first 18-wheeler that I mentioned, as a matter of fact. Blue being, of course, symbolizing sadness.
Yeah.
And she seems to wear, and he wears that blue suit that everyone keeps asking him that knows him, like, why are you wearing that suit? I just thought it was nice to wear a suit.
Yeah.
And she wears lots of shades of red throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the color of like love and passion and stuff, which is what she represents. So yeah, there's some symbolism going on with that too.
What's the song, The Poor Little Blue Boy? Is that the song?
Oh gosh,
I think it's an Elvis song, but it's on the soundtrack as well. And so that plays in there.
Okay, I missed that.
Poor Little Blue Boy.
My name should be trouble. My name should be woe. For trouble and heartache is all that I know. Yes, lonely blue boy is my name.
Well, that's perfect. That works.
Yeah,
totally works.
It is at the beginning. It's almost monochromatic. The blue. It's like
that opening shot,
white, black, and blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that big swath of blue painted on the wall, and him over here in this dark little corner wearing his blue.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, the rule of thirds is all right there.
Yeah,
it's beautiful stuff. I guess we should talk a little bit about what the movie is. Broad strokes.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
This guy, he's a sad bastard. Yep. He's got 7 horrible sisters who just treat him like absolute garbage.
Yes.
And one of them works with a young lady who she wants to set up with her brother, Barry, our lead. And the two basically just fall in love immediately. And during this whole thing, he's being extorted by some guys from Utah. So they're in Los Angeles and some guys in Utah are extorting him.
Yes.
That's kind of the gist of that's the high concept, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And I see a lot of, now that, like, once I rewatched and zoomed out a little, I see him, as you're saying, getting out of depression or, grabbing hold of the reins of his life or,
taking control. Things happen to him
for
most of his life, and he finally starts doing things.
And so he first picks up this harmonium that randomly gets dropped off on the side of the road, and
mysteriously.
I think that was like a yes moment. He's like, I'm gonna take this, and that freaked him out, which is hilarious. Just see his waddle. He has a penguin waddle run in this movie, like it's so amazing. And then Emily Watson or Lena comes by to drop off her car to get fixed, like right next door. And so he's like, even that, he's like, oh, no. He's like freaking out, like so bad. So I think that was such a huge thing that was really hard for him to say yes to. But yeah, that harmonium, the second he touches it is the first time I think you hear music in the movie as well. Like music is kind of introduced as a very stressful language at that point, thanks to John Bryan's work there. Yeah.
And that harmonium, I suppose it symbolizes his it gives him calm. I guess maybe he feels at peace when he's messing around with it, and he's not really like playing it. He's not like shredding on the thing, but he's just trying to learn.
Yeah.
He's just pressing the keys here and there. The score, I guess we should talk about that at some point too. John Bryan is back on this one, and man, it's very percussive, very disjointed. which totally works. And the way it was done was weird. Usually when films are scored, walk me through that. You're the filmmaker here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, normally when you make a movie, you might have an idea. You might have talked to somebody and kind of have a bit of a direction or a sound that you're going for. But really, you turn in the movie and then somebody is in a studio listening and watching that with their little reference and scoring along top of that. Like, so putting the sound over the top. But yeah, this one definitely had an exception in that I think John Bryan was actually on set. Is that correct?
I'm not quite sure if he was on set that much, maybe. But if I recall, it was very collaborative. Like he would, Paul Thomas Anderson, before they filmed stuff, he would just kind of walk him through what he was looking for, and he would give him a bunch of pieces. Like, okay, here's like 10 pieces that I made for you, and he would set the rhythms of Barry talking like to the music, or where it would complement the music, and the harmonium that was played, which is like source, right? Like it's happening on screen.
Yeah.
That blended in, because the original idea was to have a lot of harmonium in the score itself, and then they threw that out the window and said, no, the harmonium that he's going to be playing in the scene will blend in nicely with this percussive stuff.
Yeah, it kind of plays along with it.
Yeah, so...
And that he plays, that little bit that he plays like 2 notes,
Right.
Or plays... and then like a little lick, but that's the melody, or at least a take, or it works with the melody. One of the craziest things with the music, they're walking out of that restaurant, as we talked about, with that big old moving semi, the 18-wheeler on that corner. First of all, that is such a long take. They are in the restaurant, and he's like leans over to Lena, and he's like, hey, I don't really like this place.
Right.
Like, we're going to leave.
Right.
Because his hand is bleeding because he just beat up the bathroom, because he's so annoyed because his sisters have told him about this embarrassing story of him as a child. Yeah. And so as they're leaving, long shot, oh my gosh, we're weaving and winding through the restaurant. It's like, oh yeah, Goodfellas would be like,
it's PTA's wheelhouse.
Oh man, yes, so beautiful.
This is 4 movies in a row, 4 really long takes. This one's not nearly as
Boogie Nights, the complicated shots in that,
and
like,
the Magnolia one too. Magnolia and Boogie Nights are both really complicated.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But so this one's easy comparably.
Sure.
But we get outside and that semi's like turning the corner with them at the exact same time. It's still all one shot, and the music is going na, 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 and the truck is turning the corner. It's like and the music, actually, it's the brakes and the sounds of the brakes releasing
and the hydraulics and stuff
that play the music for just a moment, and then
it's true
changes back.
I was watching for that, as a matter of fact. Will pointed that out in the Heart 8 episode. He said, when you get to Punch Drunk Love, pay attention to that.
I lost my mind when that, like, I didn't catch it when I watched this, like, back in college, but whoa.
I didn't catch it at first either, but Will pointed that out, and he was damned if he wasn't right.
I watched it 4 more times.
Yeah, it's bizarre how this movie uses the audio, the score, and the sound, and it's all symbiotic. It wasn't like, I may have given the impression a moment ago that the music dictated the rhythms of the scenes entirely, and that's not entirely true. It did in some places, but in some other places, I mean, it was a give and take. It wasn't like, all right, the movie is shot and here it is, and you just write some shit to play along on top of it.
Right, no, yeah.
It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of conferring with one another.
Oh, it is a character, like, and I think it's totally what puts you so deep in your head, and it, like, you feel Barry's anxiety based on the music. Yeah, it's like
disjointed.
There's a couple of moments where it's like, I might just need to pause just to regather my own, like, personal strength. Like, the music really puts you in his headspace for sure. Like,
agreed.
Really amazing.
Poor Barry is very, very lonely. He calls a sex line. That was a thing that people did back in the day. Yeah, apparently.
I think it was part of his yes saying. He was just clipping out the coupon for the pudding. And
God, where do we start? I guess we'll talk about the extortion, and then we'll backtrack to the pudding. The pudding is just fucking weird. It's just so weird. So he calls a sex line because he's lonely. It's not because he's horny. He just wants to talk to somebody.
Right.
That's literally all it is. He just wants to talk to this girl, and he, for some reason, thinks that he's got some kind of confidentiality code, like this is a doctor or an attorney that he's paid.
Right.
And turns out this sex worker on the other line works for this scumbag mattress king in Utah somewhere.
Yeah.
And they just start extorting him. They start calling him. They've got his credit card number. And it's just take.
Yeah, they actually take his social on the phone, and he's just like, I shouldn't do this. Like, he's like, I should hang up now. You know, you feel it. Yeah. But he doesn't. He gets in with them. Yeah, exactly.
And so that starts fucking his life up. They start calling him at work, and oh my God, those scenes with him at work where work is going sideways. He's got those clients and he's making an ass out of himself in front of the clients. Then his sister shows up and she's harping on him about showing up to the party or something.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also maybe it was that Lena was there also to get breakfast.
You're right. That's exactly right.
It was the next time. Yeah. When she's like, we're going to go get breakfast. You should come with us.
After the party. Yeah. And the phone is constantly ringing. And it's just these scumbags from Utah just cursing at him and threatening him, and it's just so, I don't know how he held it together, because as a viewer, I'm watching it, I know this is fiction, and I'm on edge.
Oh yeah, like the warehouse workers are flying through with a forklift and a box goes like launching off,
and he stays
meanwhile
calm.
Lena's like, do you need to take care of that? But he's trying to stay chill in front of this new potential girlfriend or friend that he has a crush on.
Yeah, and he holds it together. There's like two collisions with forklifts, and he doesn't bat an eye.
It's amazing. It is funny. It is really funny, but it's actually so stressful that you can't laugh. It's like one of those things where it's like, man, 5 years from now, I'm going to laugh about this. Like,
right.
But right now, no.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Part of the stable of PTA's actors that he's got. He only brought in two because, I mean, there's only so many roles in this one.
Right.
He got Philip Seymour Hoffman to go back to Screaming, which, you know, he was this kind, delicate, gentle, caring soul, a beautiful soul in Magnolia.
Yeah.
And sort of somewhat like that in Boogie Nights as well.
Yeah.
But then in... oh man, he's a bastard. He's with the Coen brothers. You know, the Coen brothers archetype. They always have the screaming fat man.
Yeah,
the fat man that's just bellowing.
John Goodman.
That's Phil Hoffman in this movie. Not to call him fat, but
no.
he was a large guy just screaming.
He's a mighty presence. His hair, he has a giant lion mane on him, like
mattress man.
The mattress man. That's that mattress man.
What a talent that guy was.
Oh, yes.
Oh, what a shame we lost him.
Yeah. Jeez. How does he get introduced? The girl who's extorting him kind of hands off the phone.
Yeah, I think it's when Barry calls and starts screaming at her.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, we got a problem."
Yeah, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. And he's handling some business with a henchman, and he sends the henchman off to do. He's like a small time. I think he's a mattress guy as like that's his front.
Yeah, storefront. Yep.
Yeah. And then he's like just, I guess, an extortionist or whatever. We really don't get a good sense of what he does. Maybe he just dabbles in extortion. I don't know.
It was so this time I actually kind of saw it with new eyes. There's one long shot where they introduce them, and it kind of is going to this back room, and there's a fake wall, and there's probably like 4 or 5 women on the phone.
That's right. The camera pans to the right,
and you just
remember
the slight audio cue is like, "Are you stroking your cock?"
That's
right.
Or
something like there's just one of these, just like, oh my gosh, like
that's
the
right.
words that are used, it's so abrasive.
Yeah,
but man, I think that all of that, to me, that whole extortion thing is really interesting. It's like to call a phone sex line, and they're really just using his guilt or shame that surrounds sex, and so they know they have some form of tool to control these men who are desperate and lonely and can't communicate, and they're just counting on them being ashamed of sex. Like it's pretty. I think there's a pretty big thing that P.T. Anderson's kind of going after there.
in true PTA form. He has rat bastards in his movies, and his camera tends to have an impartial eye. He doesn't really hit you over the head with how you should feel about these characters. He just lets you see them behaving the way they're gonna, and you make up your own mind about how you feel about it. But if you're a rat bastard in a PTA movie, you're gonna get yours.
Yeah.
And that moment when Barry calls him and they're screaming "fuck you" at each other and "shut up, shut up, shut up," that whole thing.
Yes.
He's freaking out and he's screaming that. He's screaming that because his whole thing is just falling apart.
Yeah.
His extortion plan is falling apart.
Yeah.
He realizes he can't play Barry like that.
Right.
And all they can do now is threaten him physically.
Right, exactly. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to see. Like, Barry is realizing this in his own self through falling in love with a girl. He's seeing that, like, wait, no, I have value. I have a voice. Like,
and it makes me strong, is how he said.
Yeah. I have love in my life, and it makes me stronger than any beast you can imagine. Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, whoa, man. Like,
it's so cathartic hearing him say that stuff too.
Yeah.
He's such a pushover, and he's so not to use a chauvinist term, but I mean, henpecked is the only thing I can think of to say by his sisters. They're so horrible to him. He's a footnote in their life.
Yeah.
Like, they've got their own little community going on, and they're like, oh yeah, and then we've got our weird brother.
Yeah. Man, the sisters are so funny. In those artistic visuals, some of the things you see are stars.
Yeah,
like,
the interstitials, the digital art.
Yeah, that kind of flows through there and informs feelings a little bit. But I also find it interesting that he has 7 sisters, and there's like the constellation 7 sisters. And I don't have a clue.
Oh.
I don't have a clue what this means.
You may be onto something.
But I think it's just a bookmark for us all to research.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I should have done some more research before we did this episode. Those are great, the interstitials. There's a little documentary that comes on the Criterion edition of this film.
Not the DVD, the Blu-ray. I have the DVD, and it doesn't look very good. So
yeah, well, they added a bunch of stuff in. Like, there's an interview with John Bryan from like 2012, 2014.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
2014, like a good 12 years removed from the film.
Yeah.
And I think they added that too, because that guy passed away, that artist, I can't remember his name right now, something Jacobs, if I'm not mistaken. He was a digital artist.
Okay,
I believe he passed away in 2007, but there's these really neat little interstitials between acts in the film. I really don't know how to explain them. They're just...
Yeah, glowing colors, like...
They fade into one another, and...
Yeah, where I think the rest of the movie is like very monochromatic, very just blue, and then you start to get the reds introduced with Lena. But then in these like emotional or feeling moments or in transition moments, you get this like crazy Technicolor, like blah gradient, like light play. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah, the guy knows that the PTA understands that language of cinema.
Yeah,
and there's always a little something under that. You can just watch this movie and go, that's neat. I don't know why I put that there, but it's neat. But there's something to it. There's always a little substance there.
Yeah,
and, I don't feel dumb for having missed it, but I do. I like to have a little more meat on the bone for movies like this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Another thing that kind of works with those interstitials is like the lens flares that are going on throughout.
Lots of lens flares. This was J.J. Abrams' out.
Yeah,
almost.
This is pre-Star Trek, everybody.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
No, well, not like all Star Trek. I mean pre-J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Right.
Yeah, let me correct myself.
Yeah, the Kelvin timeline we're talking about, folks.
But oh man, the lens flares he got on there. I feel like he was doing that fishing line type of trick on some of the shots to get like the light to catch out in front of the.
Well, tell me about that.
I believe this is the way it's done, or I don't know, the J.J. Abrams thing. You can actually put like fishing line or thin like optics or some sort of plastic, and if the light will refract through that, if that line catches that light, then you get that crazy line of color across the lens. So it's like a way you can make that happen in camera.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think I was like, oh wow, I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
And on some of them, I think it's kind of painted or like maybe digitally masked over the top of it, but a lot of it is happening just with like natural light bleed.
That wouldn't surprise me. He's we know PTA is a big believer in film, and
purist.
He absolutely hates the idea of digital stuff. But I'm sure he would be okay with maybe a special effect here or there.
Yeah. I think with the color stuff, I
don't think he's quite as Luddite as like a Tarantino. If we can't do it in camera, then fuck it, we're not doing it.
Yeah, right. I saw one person compare this movie to Tarantino, and where it's every character in a Tarantino movie is like the most like profound and well-spoken person ever, like,
right, that dialogue.
Yeah, in this movie it's like Barry is not well-spoken. I think his main go-tos are like, okay, sure, I don't know, and there's a lot of like blunders in his talking as well that you pick up on, and the rest of the characters try to help him through that. Like,
sure.
Like, oh, I'm food.
Yeah,
that's great. Like, Barry, how you doing, man? Barry, how you doing? Oh, I am food.
It's like, did you just say that you're food?
Yeah.
No.
And the sister goes straight for the throat. Yeah, exactly.
They're so terrible. It was nice to see her, the main sister that we see in the movie. I don't know how to pronounce this actress's last name. I'm sorry. Marilyn. I'm sorry, Marilyn. You're a fantastic
so
talent.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yes. And she was cut out of Magnolia.
Oh, really?
She had a whole scene in Magnolia that was cut right out. So it was nice to see her get it.
Yeah.
A role in this one.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah. The scene where it's during the seminar, Frank T.J. Mackey gives a seminar how to I forget, just how to manipulate women, and then it cuts away in the actual film, but in the extended version that's on the Blu-ray, it shows him telling you, and it's her and him acting out like what he's walking you through. So it's like Frank T.J. Mackey narrating how he's just using this woman for sex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's the actress, but she got cut out of the film, sadly. But anyway, she's back in the movie. She's back in the mix.
What else am I thinking of her from?
Mr. Show.
Okay, yes.
And she was on 24.
Yeah.
She was on 24. I never saw that, but I heard that she was on it. But she was on the first 2 seasons of HBO's Mr. Show with Bob and David, if you remember that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I believe she was dating David Cross at the time.
Okay, awesome. I thought that, I thought the choice of Emily Watson was a very distinct decision, especially like Adam Sandler, you'd think is just kind of the bro comedy from America. And at least the way I think of Emily Watson is just like, whoa, this amazingly talented European actress who's just like top shelf. Right. So it's just like, it's a really perfect...
Adam Sandler got brought into that world, man. I mean, PTA's no slouch either.
Oh my
he's
gosh.
A critical darling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's highly respected. And then to bring in a guy like Adam Sandler, that was a ballsy move. That's almost up there with... Not to invoke Tarantino yet again, but bringing in Travolta or Robert Forster or someone, and just kind of... I don't know about reviving their career, because Adam Sandler was doing just fine. He's paying the bills.
Right, yep.
He was certainly paying the bills at this point
my gosh,
in his career.
Yes.
He did not need this movie at all.
No, right.
He's living very comfortably. But, I mean, he won some awards for this. He got a lot of recognition for it, and people realized, oh, this guy does more than just, fart jokes or whatever.
Yeah. There's moments in a few scenes where he's, like, tensing, his jaw muscles and just seeing his just, like... so withheld, I guess, but so just like, oh man, this guy is breaking down on the inside, and it's so well acted. Like, really crushes it.
One critic, I forget who, maybe it was Roger Ebert, said that after seeing this movie, he could see Adam Sandler doing roles that, say, a younger Dennis Hopper would have been perfectly cast as.
Yeah, Roger Ebert hates or hated Sandler movies. Like, and he would always go on the record as being very rude about how much he hated Adam Sandler movies. Sure. And so, it was a big deal when Ebert was like,
this guy's got talent, and how long is he going to keep making, fratty movies? And the answer to that is yes. He did. He went right back to that stuff.
That's what he knows.
That's fine. I'm not. I mean, it's paying the bills, man. I mean,
he just needed P.T. Anderson to write him more in parts. But
fuck art, let's dance. So we had Louis Guzman too. I guess I would be remiss if I didn't mention him. He doesn't really have a lot to do in this movie.
Yeah,
that's fine. He just kind of had to stand there and look baffled by the choices that Barry was making.
One of the looks he gives when Lena is in there and he sees Lena for the first time, and then she asks for, "Can I give you my number and my address?" And he's like, "Sure."
Yeah, that's Guzman's moment in the film. That's his
Guzman's
moment.
face.
He
there.
says nothing. His face. It's great.
I was dying laughing. Yeah, it's so funny. He's just like complete disbelief. He's like, "How is this happening?"
That guy's fantastic. He's a national treasure.
That's true.
Louis Guzman. But yeah, he and I believe Hoffman are the only two from the PTA stable of actors that actually made it into this film.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's fine. There's only 5 or 6 speaking roles in this movie. So
right.
That's fine. You can't be wall-to-wall John C. Reilly's and Philip Baker Hall's. And
John C. Reilly could be in there. Wow.
That would have been 4 in a row. He was in the first 3.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done one since, has he? That's weird.
That is
He was in the first 3. I'm not trying to infer anything. I'm sure they're still buddies. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. Just hadn't had the right part. He's an artist, folks.
Yeah, he's probably mad that he got replaced by Adam Sandler.
Maybe. Maybe. Well, he starred in the first one. He was like the guy in the first.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I believe that he actually heard the story about this whole pudding cups type of thing. Like P.T.
That's
Anderson,
a real thing.
That is a real thing.
That's a real thing. A guy got over 1 million frequent flyer miles through some sort of a promotion that a pudding company made, and he spent $3,000 on pudding. And got over 1 million frequent flyer miles from doing that.
Which is funny.
Yeah, because the UPC, you have to have the UPC for it, but it wasn't on like in a pack of 4 pudding cups.
Yeah.
It didn't have the one on the label. Each pudding cup had its own. So he was exploiting that.
Which is exactly what Barry...
And that's what Barry did.
And that's where this movie starts. Like, it starts with him, like, on the phone with a guy, like, talking through the fine print of, like,
that's right.
The promotion. And it's like, what is going on? I think that's where it's a really fun puzzle at the beginning. It's only halfway through that you really like see that, oh, he's actually gonna get something.
He figured it out.
Like he's gonna get something from these pudding cups.
He gamed the system. Oh.
At one point she says, like, "You're insane," like directly to him. It's like,
but he shouldn't feel bad, and I don't think he does feel bad at all for exploiting this.
I agree.
Because he called that guy and he walked him through it, and he told the guy, "Hey, this is what your fine print says, and this is how it can be exploited." And the guy doesn't give a shit. The guy's like just wants to get off the phone with this weirdo that's calling him up, asking him about a pudding promotion. You can tell the tone of the guy's voice. He just wants to get off the damn phone, and he does. So I mean, he tried. He told the guys, here's what I could do, and the guy doesn't care. So
yeah.
Whatever.
Yes, I think that's like he's saying yes to that pudding promotion, which is very weird. He says yes to the harmonium. He's not sure about the girl, but then later he's like, oh wait, he's cutting out that pudding promotion. He sees the sex talk line, and so he says yes to that. And I think that's the one that burns him. I think it makes him scared of saying yes going into the future, and it's kind of like, whoa, is this going to be the thing that takes out our character and his ability to trust in others? Or is this going to be the thing that he can, grow up and conquer?
Yeah, but that's right. He conquers it. He mans up, if to use another misogynist term.
Man up. Yep.
But he does, and he
does.
He rips that fucking phone right out of the wall, and wraps the cord around his hand. Drives all the way to Utah and gets right in Phil Hoffman's face.
Yes.
Still holding that fucking phone after driving half of the country. That may be the funniest moment in the movie, when you realize he held onto that damn phone receiver on a cross-country drive.
Exactly. It's not until I'm older that it's like, oh wait, L.A. to like Salt Lake City. That's a long drive.
Yeah, it's a drive.
Which he ditched his girlfriend in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because he's like, whoa. She got hurt as a result of all of this, and he's like, I need to clean up the mess that I've created in my life. So you see what he's doing, and it's noble, but when he gets back with her, he definitely has to apologize a bunch. And the one thing she does really say is like, you left me in the hospital. You can't do that. You know, she's like, she's not a pushover. She's putting up strong boundaries for sure.
She ran the risk of being kind of I don't know, maybe not a well-developed or maybe an underwritten character.
Agree.
If she just rolled with it, you needed her to put her foot down right then for her to have some sort of her own agency. Otherwise, she's just there as a prop for him.
Exactly. But she's like, no, you can never do that. And so, yeah, there is a little bit of strength. That is nice. I agree with what you just said, for sure. Another thing she said was like, she finally confesses, like one of the lies that she's kind of going along with, as Barry tells a lot of small lies to make his life easier. And she's like, the only reason I went to drop my car off at that place was because I saw you in a picture of your sisters. And I was like, oh, I want to meet that guy. Like, I feel like I like that guy. So she's completely committed to like this cute idea of this guy. So I don't know. It's a pretty it's a little fluffy. It's definitely a romantic comedy.
It is,
you know,
and she could be rebounding. All we know about her past is that she was married at one point. This could just be a rebound for her.
Right.
We don't 6
really months ago she was in a relationship, like dating, I think she says, and then she was married in the past also. So
yeah. You know, this movie is really just the story of the beginning of their relationship.
Yeah.
The way the movie ends, the very last words.
Is it here we go?
And here we go.
And here we go. Yeah.
That's great. Cut to credits.
Oh, chills.
Yeah.
Huge chills.
PTA knows how to end a movie, man.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. That's 4 for 4 on the endings.
Yeah.
Just grabbing you and just fantastic.
Yeah, so satisfying. And then the music is so engaging. Yeah, you just hang for the credits. It's so great to hang out for the credits.
I do.
Yeah.
I almost always hang out for the credits in PTA movies. I know there's not like some Marvel-esque stinger waiting for me on the other end. Yeah. There's not a PTA shared universe.
Right.
Thank God.
There's not going to be a raccoon dance sequence or something like.
No. But just there's something about it. They feel like they're part of the film. Those credits, especially Magnolia, but
my gosh,
all of them, the music, the score, it all just works. Just even the way the credits look, in a lot of these movies.
Yeah, I think this one, kind of transitioning over from Magnolia. Did we touch on this? But transitioning from Magnolia, there is a lot of circumstance and chances that are like this organ suddenly being ejected from this taxi cab. Where did that come from? What was this event? What was this frog falling from the sky? Like,
sure. That's what it was. It was kind of a frog falling from the sky. It's never explained.
Right.
There's nothing. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't need it.
And that car that wrecks. Why did that car wreck?
Wait.
There's a violent car wreck.
Why do I not remember this?
So it's right as the organ is being dropped off. Like he's looking in this Jeep, just like
it just like a tire blows out or something, and it flips over like 8 times. Yeah. I have no idea.
Horrific car wreck. And then the organ
I have no idea what that was
off.
about. There's something there. It means something. PTA's a filmmaker that knows what the hell he's doing. And I don't know.
It's almost like,
is.
Hey, here's where Magnolia left off, and now we're,
right.
I don't know exactly what's happening.
Cheers.
Cracking a beer. Yeah, I think, one of the things, talking about depressed, and he's hanging out with his sisters, and they keep bringing in embarrassing things of the past, or like how they used to call him gay boy when he was growing up. Oh, remember when he called you gay boy, and it made you so mad? You made you so mad when we called you gay boy. And it's just like, you feel this... he has a lot of back on that like sexual repression or just like angst or just like, oh, poor buddy is hurting. Like he's not confident on this front. But he also has this aside with one of the brothers because
his brother-in-law, the doctor, the dentist, who he also thought he had confidentiality with.
Exactly, which is it's a dentist and also a brother-in-law to one of his
harpy sisters.
Exactly. And he's trying to ask him advice about mental health issues. And he's so ashamed of even having like mental health issues. And it's just like, oh man, like where that scene right there, there's a hilarious moment within it where he's like, and sometimes I'll just like start crying. he just like boom, like snaps in and just starts bawling, crying. But it's just like, oh my gosh, that moment of honesty where he's like able to share that, and he starts crying like now as an adult, like, I still had the knee-jerk laughter, but it hurts so bad. Like
that
it
line,
was like,
sometimes I don't like myself. It's like, oh Jesus,
yeah,
that poor guy.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler, you make good art when you want to.
Oh man,
why don't you want to?
It is so beautiful.
I know your failed SNL buddies need work too, but come on, man.
Man, I don't know. P.T. Anderson's a hard writer to compete with.
Yeah, and I don't think you can just call him up and say, hey, write me a part.
Right.
He's going to write what he wants to write for who he wants to write for.
Exactly.
How does this fit into to his overall filmography for you?
As far as like,
I mean, I'm not trying to get into ranking and stuff, but I mean, is this like a top tier? Is it a mid tier? Is it a lower?
I love this movie.
Yeah.
No, I do. Yeah, I really love this movie. So it's right up there.
Sure. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, Magnolia and Boogie Nights are kind of their own, just like, whoa, these are their own thing. And I love I love There Will Be Blood and, the conversation that's being had there. I think that one got a little bit heady or maybe a little lost on me, just a little long. I don't know what happened, but I love that movie. And it's hilarious and awful and paints a beautiful picture of how corrupt and awful America is. But man, Punch Drunk Love, it's so personal, it's so concentrated and so limited in so many factors. Like even like our main character's vocabulary is so limited.
It's kind of a quickie for PTA.
Yeah,
it's a brisk watch.
It is.
I mean, there's plenty of meat on that bone, but
yeah, it's orange juice concentrate. Sure. It's a little tart, and you want to spit it out a couple times.
I think you said earlier there were only like 10 scenes in the whole movie, but
I didn't actually count, but it really does.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
It's a quick one. I mean, especially coming off of Magnolia. I mean, when I watched this, I was still knee deep in Magnolia for the last episode, and so I still had a lot of that on my mind. And I watched it, and I was like, man, that was quick and easy, and okay, that was nice. I think I might be ready for There Will Be Blood next.
Nice, yeah. So I don't know how to rank it. I think one of the big things also is just you start to see Barry gain confidence in himself. He gains his own voice. He's like, whoa, this is what I'm feeling. I need to express this. Or I'm going to go to Hawaii because this girl's going to Hawaii.
Sure. The way he expressed himself before was just, I'm going to take a hammer and smash this sliding glass door.
Right. Or beat up a bathroom. It's like, whoops, it's only anger that's coming out, and he's just unable to express himself.
Yeah.
And finally learning, like, oh, this is what I want. Like,
even when he was trying to... Go ahead.
Yeah, he hands off the business to Louis
Guzman.
To Guzman. And he's like, man, you just run it. And it's like, you don't see him being capable of handing off anything at the beginning. And he's finally asking the people around him, like, hey, can you help me with this? Because this is what I'm doing. I'm collecting these pudding cups because I'm going to get a bunch of flight miles. Like, he finally is having confidence in the crazy person that he is. He
takes the reins and things stop happening to him, and he starts making things happen.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a feel-good movie, I guess, towards the end anyway. Once he gets his mojo, he starts taking the reins. It's great.
Yep. He gets mean a couple times. He has to embrace that. He has to yell curse words over the phone. Oh my gosh, when he's yelling at his sister, he's like, I don't need to tell you what I'm doing. I'm gonna fucking tell you.
That's so great. Oh, that's so great. You can't fucking do this for me.
Because he can't tell her the truth. Why he could just tell his sister, like, I love the girl and I want her phone number.
Yeah.
But he's incapable of doing that. So he's still kind of hurting himself.
Just give me the fucking number. That ought to be good enough for you. Give me that fucking number. She's like, Jesus, Barry, okay. She'd never heard it. You noticed her tone of voice changed completely. She was like, oh my God, here.
Yeah, she had never heard it. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, something changed in that guy. I think we've pretty much done it, right? Have we?
I feel great.
I do too.
I have one page of notes. There's about 10 things written on here, and we got them all.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to plug? What are you up to?
Well, I'm always making short films with friends, Drew Maynard, Dicey Wildman, some of my best friends that I'm always working with. So if you see their names, check out anything they're working on.
Okay. Yeah, will do.
Nice.
Caleb, it's great to meet you, man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jason.
I had a blast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good talk. And there you have it, episode 4 all wrapped up. Punch Drunk Love may be the perfect movie to talk about before our next episode, where we'll discuss, dissect, and review PTA's towering cinematic achievement, There Will Be Blood. Filmography Club is produced by We Own This Town, home of many top shelf podcasts produced right here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a network that I'm proud to be a part of. If I could take a moment to plug a fellow We Own This Town podcast, I'd like to recommend Olivia Ladd's Bandsplainer, a podcast that's exactly what the name implies. Every episode, Olivia takes an important band and breaks down exactly what makes them relevant, and it's always very informative and entertaining. So music nerds, look up Bandsplainer, you'll almost certainly dig it. I'd like to thank my guest, Caleb Dirks. I'd also like to thank Michael Leeds, Will Fox, Ross Warner, and Dicey Wildman. Thanks for listening.
And all at once I knew at once, I knew he needed me. Until the day I die, I wanna